Zen and Tech podcast. Today's topic is set and setting, and my name is Joel. I'm from LiBa Limited. We make and manufacture the LiBa Light, and just jumped in the picture right now is Gabriel from Infinite One. Infinite One and LightBath is a collaboration. We made that podcast together, and the podcast is all about technology and combination with holistic practices. And last episode we had a little bit closer look in what the LiBa Light is, what the LiBa Light does, and what the effects are, what people report, and the type of experience you can get. It's very nice to see that in comparison to last episode, we have already a lot more people actually listening to the podcast. It's very exciting. So hello everyone, just joined, and yeah, just give Gabriel a moment to say hello to everyone as well. Hi Gabriel.
Well, hi Joe. Thanks for having me here. And sorry if I'm late. I hope I'm not.
You're not at all. You're not at all. All good.
Hey, that's perfect. And let's get started because I know we got a lot to cover today. And without further ado, we should kickstart our second episode. So when we talk about set and setting, in your opinion, what's the first thing comes to your mind?
I think we should first establish the term set and setting. I just told my partner that today's episode is about set and setting, and he not really had a relation what that actually is or what that actually means. So set and setting is a term from the world of psychedelics, and it refers to basically your surrounding and your environment you're in during the time when you have your psychedelic experience. And positive set and setting can bring your psychedelic experience into a positive direction as well. Set and setting includes your room, your space you're in, but it also includes all the different senses we have in that environment: sight, smell, hearing, touch, taste. All these things contribute to the experience. And I think today's episode, we just divided into exactly these different senses. We just go from sense to sense and talk about what it is from our perspective. We always speak from our perspective. We don't want to teach anyone how to do something. We just communicate how we do our own light practice and meditation practice and so on.
Exactly. And Joe, it's very important to talk about these because it can make a difference between successful and very inspiring and giving a type of session, or something that you didn't really got to experience all the way you could have.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about sight and about visuals, about the visual elements of the set and setting, what are you referring to exactly?
So I think the first thing is the room and the environment we're in. So
sorry, I think I lost the connection there.
No worries. So I think the first thing in terms of sight, what jumps into my mind is the room and the environment we're in. And in terms of the light experience, you can make your light experience either inside in your own space, or it can be outside on the fresh air. And really depending where you are, that really alters the actual light experience itself. So for example, when we have an event somewhere in London, in the Tara Yoga studio, for example, where we have that beautiful LED light, but the whole room looks really spaceship-like. So that gives a complete different feel when you enter that room, and if you enter that space of light and going that experience, compared when you do it outside, for example, in the woods or somewhere in the fields where you are surrounded by nature and you have the smell of nature, the sound of nature. So I think that's one important part of sight. But I think in terms, when we just stick to the room itself, there's the factor of light. You have dim lights, you have indirect lights, you have candle lights. All these different types of light within the room can change the whole feeling when you are in that room and enter that beautiful experience. That's the first thing that jumps in my mind. Is there anything else you think in terms of space of room is important?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to preferences. I know some people who cannot stand the dark, like pitch black, and they would also like to have some atmospheric light, like something for the mood to set in. And that's perfectly fine. You can adjust the light and sound experience accordingly by increasing the intensity of the light if the environmental light is very intense, I guess.
I think it's just important that the room light is on a little bit on the darker side. As you said, it doesn't have to be pitch black, but then better the contrast between the brightest light the light emits, and when basically the light's complete dark, when that contrast is the biggest, then you have, of course, the best experience with the light experience itself. So the flicker effect is the best when it's complete bright and complete dark. But as you said, you don't have to stay in a pitch black room, so it can be just a little bit a dimmer surrounding. So if you do it outside, it has to be, of course, a little bit in the early morning or really towards the evening into the night. And if you do it in a room, then you can adjust the room light a little bit better. But yeah, of course, the room doesn't have to be pitch black.
Yes. And also, when you're talking about lights, I'm also thinking about light preferences. And for me, there's also, I always prefer warm lights, the ones that are going more towards the golden spectrum of the colors instead of, blue. So
I think warm lights, naturally red and orange tones in light, automatically make you more calm, and towards the evening it just kicks in this circadian rhythm where you just get a little bit tired. And so that's why it's important that you lights in your home, that you towards the night always go warmer and warmer to the point where it's really a dim dark light, so that you get naturally more tired, instead of just before until you just going to bed you have your whole house completely white and bright. On the other hand, doesn't mean that a good room for light practice has to be always red and yellow. It can be also a bluish tone, but I would suggest more to people who have maybe a morning routine with the light, usually a bit more colder light tones to actually activate their body and their mind instead of really calming it down. But I think also color changing lights can make a very interesting environment. So these RGB colors are very interesting to make quite psychedelic rooms and surroundings. Gabriel, you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry, let me change connections.
No worries. Then I'll just go ahead. And so I think with the RGB lights, especially interested in when you have the fading colors going on, and you can fade from warmer tones to colder tones, and do that with a few independent lights. I think the effect you get in a room can be quite modern, but you can also change the mood within a room fairly quick. So if you have a room you designate to your holistic practices or your spiritual practice, and you have it lit with an RGB light, you can kind of change the room color depending when you do your practice within the day. And yeah, I think it's very beneficial when you do something in the morning that you have a colder tone as an environment light, and if you do things in the evening, you have more warmer tone.
That's interesting. That's an interesting point. I mean, and all these are all things you can do in your home, right?
Of course.
You can buy changing colored bulbs, and you can get like curtains to do a pitch black session, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. And also outside, I mean, it's really depending in which environment you are. So when you are somewhere on the beach and you have maybe the sound of the sea and the birds, and that's a complete different environment compared to the woods, where you maybe hear the woodpecker going and some winds going through the trees. So that is a complete different relationship to your surrounding. And
yeah.
It's sometimes a little bit difficult to time and have weather and time and everything perfect, that you're not too cold outside, but the light is not too bright, and the weather is nice as well. So it's sometimes a bit difficult to find the correct moment to grab your LiBa light and go outside and enjoy the light outside. But yeah, really depending where you are in this world. But it's nature is always a good environment to enjoy these sorts of journeys, and yeah, just go with the environment onto a light journey. I think is something very, very powerful.
Yeah, I bet it is. I mean, each time I do it outside, I have a different kind of experience, and it's I should do it more often, to be honest. Most of the times I do it indoors, in an event setting, or even on my own. So, but when we're talking about senses, besides sight, there's also smell or touch. Let's talk a bit about that. Let's talk about a bit about aromatherapy, maybe. We can mention a bit about incense, or I don't know, other types of stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think scent is a very powerful world, and we connect a lot of emotions and experiences with different smells and scents, and we can incorporate that into our space and into our practice. And it's a multitude of different things we can choose from. So in terms of incense, I found usually the incense more from the Thailand area a lot more pleasant, because have a little bit more spicy dry smell to them, compared to the Indian incense, which are very punchy and have a very strong aroma, so to speak. It also reminds me a little bit on a curry. It has just so many smells come together, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So I usually prefer, in terms of the classic incense stick, usually more the one from Thailand region. But there are not only these sticks around, so the woods you can burn, like Palo Santo.
It's called Palo Santo, the sacred wood.
Yeah.
And supposedly they only collect the fallen off pieces. It's never chopped down. It's never cut to be processed. It's just they collect the dead wood, basically. And what I found about Palo Santo is that you can actually even vaporize it to have the best efficiency of that scent. So if you hold your piece of wood at a kind of a bit of a distance from the flame, it will produce in a matter of seconds the best smell it can give. Instead of burning it, touching it with the flame, I suggest only heating it, and that would release all of those aromas in it. And Palo Santo is something that you need to experience for yourself because it's really such an original and unique smell.
And especially Palo Santo's smell, it immediately calms me down. As soon as I smell it, it just brings the whole mood and all the energies. It just brings them all down, and it's just so calming, and it has a very warm, gentle smell to it, and that's something I really appreciate with Palo Santo. And even if you're not really into all these incense smells, or if you think it's a little bit overpowering, Palo Santo has something very subtle, and it just gets absorbed by the environment. And it's just a really nice air cleansing agent, so to speak.
Yeah, and supposedly it keeps mosquitoes at bay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, supposedly. And it also purifies the air spiritually, and it's used in those cultures for thousands of years. So,
yeah, a lot of people use also the sage. Don't know if you ever seen that. That you have a bundle of sage, and then it's usually wrapped in a piece of thread, and then you get kind of a lump of sage, and if you burn that, it has also a very, very strong aroma in the air, and it also cleans the air and the energies. But compared to Palo Santo, you have a much stronger smell, and some people react a little bit more sensitive to these type of smells, can react a little bit more sensitive to the sage. I personally really like it. But
you do?
The sage, yeah. You don't?
I prefer Palo Santo.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think it's not too bad, but I like the sage usually better if it's in a outdoor environment, or if you use it in a tent or something like that, where it's really mixed with a lot of fresh air.
Okay.
Yeah. Then it really works. Also, a lot of resins used for smoke rituals and so on, they usually work better if you have them mixed with fresh air compared in an indoor space. So when last year we went to Wales and had the retreat, the Living Land retreat, Tree burned these special herbs and resins, and combined with the wood fire and combined with the fresh air, that gave such a powerful smell to it. Or if you would do it just inside in your living room, it could be a little bit overwhelming, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. So, segueing into this, I want to touch a bit on, so of course we've mentioned, scent infusers and stuff like that you can put into water and spray into the air. So everybody knows essential oils, right?
Yeah.
What about the importance of refreshing your air, basically, like opening a window? How's that playing?
That's key. I think a lot of people just live for too long throughout the day just in stale air, and unless you have really a house built for ventilation and natural clean air, like a Minergie house or something like that, then you're kind of forced to just on a regular basis to open the windows and just give yourself a little bit fresh air. Also would highly suggest before you actually make your light practice that you just open the windows and let fresh air into that room. You're actually going to make your practice, if there is a meditation practice or whatever. But being in a room with fresh air is already 10 times better than if you sit the whole day in the same stale air.
Yeah, and this is something that's only a superstition or something of that sort. So you can actually measure the quality of your air. So what I have here is a device that does just that. It tells you how much CO2 you have in your room. So what that means is you know scientifically, like measured, when to crack a window open. And that's really important because this is not calibrated at the moment. Now turn it silent. But it showed me that I should actually ventilate. And you can do that by opening a window and the door, or two windows, or only cracking up a bit the window. Oxygen needs to fill your room so you can breathe properly and have all your functions going well for you. Yeah, so
that's a very simple, probably quite a low-cost device you can buy. I don't assume that's a very expensive.
No, it's not. Yeah. It's very simple. You can buy like anywhere a couple of $100 or $100, and that's it. Yeah, you for $100, I mean, and it also has a battery. You may say that your air purifier already has a display that tells you your air quality, but that doesn't really count. So imagine this: your air purifier does all the jobs, and it purifies your air of dust, right? CO2 is not affected, by the way. You still need to open your window. So everybody who thought that if you have a purifier, an air purifier at home, you don't need to open your windows, that's wrong. You need to open your windows because oxygen needs to get inside. That it's simple as that. Nobody has an oxygen generator at home. Only a spaceman have that. Yeah. So yeah. So you can measure it independently with one of these bad boys. It's very cheap, very easy to use. You turn it on, turn it off, and it also can alarm you. It can tell you if there's a gas leak. So depending on what functions you get, you can also find out if you have a gas leak inside. And that's really, that's really powerful because it's nothing that you can sense before it's too late, most of the times, unfortunately. And because you can measure your air, you can also purify it. I'm just going to mention it. There are a few ways. So, of course, the classical air purifiers with HEPA filters, we all know them. They look a little bit like this one, although it's not this one, but they do look a little bit like this one, and you have to change the filters. Nobody does that, and nobody thinks what's the repercussion of that. I am here to tell you that's secondary pollution. So instead of catching dust, your purifier might spew out a few more particles than you think. So we have a few versions. This one you can mount inside your car. I'm just here to mention them. And this one you can even catch all the particles. It has a low energy active field. So all the air all the dust catches onto these types of system. It's really advanced. Maybe we'll talk a bit about it in the future. I think it's unique on the market. There's no other costs for it. So it's something on the long term. And it
So
really
would you say that?
Yeah.
So would you say that when you have an air purifier like that, could that contribute to your sacred space in terms of just removing bad particles out of the air and just refresh the air, in a sense that, of course, you have to open the window and get some fresh air in, but the air purifier itself could just take over and remove certain particles flying around in the air, and have a dust reduction in that space as well.
Because what happens is you open a window and pollution comes in sometimes if you live in a polluted area. And those particles can be tackled with an air purifier.
Yeah.
Oxygen needs to be replenished by opening a window. So it's a constant, it's not really that deep. It's really simple.
Well,
and
I think it's quite an interesting thought that you basically, before you start your session, that you open your windows, cleanse the air, clean the air out, and then after that just turn the air purifier on for a few hours and just have the filtered air, so then you have high oxygen in your room and also filtered air, so all the potential particles in the air you brought in from outside to the inside, especially now when we have beginning spring and all the pollen is flying around and some people reacting a little bit more sensitive to that, you can also filter that one out. So if you have maybe certain breath work exercises you want to do, you do it in the best possible air, and definitely contribute to a good air quality within the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I have that for for quite a few years now. It's nothing new, but I quite like it in terms of oil diffusing. So it's that thing where you just fill up with water, and then you add some oils, and with an ultrasonic system, it disperses water, and then it comes out at the top. And I really like that thing because compared to the candles, it's a very safe way to use these oils, ethereal oils in your space without have to burn any candles and increase the fire risk in your space.
Exactly, because a candle flame would burn your oxygen and give you more CO2 and would contribute to a lower quality air. But in the same time, what you're using, it actually it increases the humidity in the air, which lowers your fine particles in the air. So that's also kind of an air purifier, which cleans the air of dust.
Okay.
So you don't breathe it in. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
So that the little water particles bind to the dust particles, and it's an interesting point. Yeah, I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
The only disadvantage on that particular device is, I think, the noise. So if you really do a spiritual practice where you need some silence around you, that always has a little bit that watery and humming sound going on. So I personally think sometimes that's a little bit annoying. But yeah, in terms of quality and in terms of say the fragrance it generates from the ethereal oils, I think it's definitely something of the best things you can use compared to candles with the water and so on, the tea light ones.
Yeah. So what you need to take away from this is crack open a window. If your area is polluted, you can do something about your quality of the air. But anything that contributes to you relaxing even more into the session will bring a higher quality of your time spent there.
Before we move on to the next point, I just want to add something to the smell as well, and it's that we connect emotions and memories with smells. And you can, in aromatherapy, you can really target certain smells with certain emotions. And it's very interesting. A few years ago, quite a difficult thing happened in my family. And my mom was wearing during that time a certain scent on her with sandalwood, and I kind of connected that smell with that thing that happened in our family. So nowadays, when I smell exactly these tones or these fragrances, I kind of get sent back to that difficult time my family had. But that also works with positive things. So when you, for example, smell, I don't know, molten chocolate or a certain type of food or something like that, you immediately get transferred back into that happening, and you can really utilize that mechanics in your spiritual practice or in your light practice. When you have a certain relationship to a certain fragrance or a certain smell, and you use that in your light experience, you can induce dreams or imagery connected with that smell. So it's a very powerful tool to use when you do your light practice. Just want to add that to the smell thing as well.
Yeah, and for anybody, it's going to be different. For me, it was Palo Santo. For someone else, it may be eucalyptus or lavender. Or who knows? Yeah. So whatever gets you started on your journey, you need. You don't need. You actually should enhance, or you may enhance, or you can do all this stuff that can actually help you immensely without even thinking about it too much. So moving on to touch, we can say a lot of stuff here, but we are talking about stuff that will help you relax more or help you get rid of any physical discomfort. So when we talk about touch, we immediately can think about massages or practices that help you relax. I'm always into more of a deep tissue or chiropractitioner guy. I always go for that, but I know that some go for more subtle stuff. What's your take on that, Joel?
So in terms of people approaching me and asking if they can combine the light with their practices, I think I hear often Reiki, just classic massage. I think Reiki is a very interesting field with these energy redirections. It's a very subtle but very powerful practice, and I think it could be greatly supported with the light. And I know someone who has a massage practice and has a LiBa light as well, and she reported back to me that it's a very powerful tool when you work with people who struggle to get in that headspace of a massage, relaxing. In order to have the maximum from a massage, it's really down to relaxation and let go and just let yourself fall into that experience. And some people just struggle to switch that headspace, to just turn the head off and just let go. And she taught me that when she used that light and the LiBa light before the massage itself, that these people are just a lot more relaxed and open to that massage therapy. Also, it can be utilized for an aftercare, that you have maybe that more intense deep tissue massage, but use the light more in a lighter way after the massage, to just relax and give the body some time to actually absorb the impact it just had. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of things could be implemented, but at the end of the day, every massage therapist or any practitioner working in that field has to kind of find their own way how to do it. I'm not a professional massage therapist, or I don't have a really experience in that form of practice. So the only thing I can say for myself is experiencing it in my own body and combining it with the light and the feedback I get from other people. But also, touch can be something very simple, and if someone goes onto a psychedelic journey, or if someone goes onto the light journey, and along someone just holding your hand, or just have a warm hand on your belly, and feeling that the energy is already so powerful and beautiful. It doesn't need always to be a full massage or a full Reiki treatment. It can be something very simple. So if you have a friend, or if you have a family member, and you show the LiBa light for the first time, and allow that person to experience the light for the first time, that person might be a little bit tense, might be a little bit afraid of what they actually experience, and comforting that person with just a light touch, without stroking or anything like that. Just lay your hand on someone else's body during that time can be a very, very helpful and powerful type of treatment, without any experience in massage or Reiki at all.
Yeah, just intention, just good intention, and trying to help them out, right? I guess we can also mention that you can. Another thing is that you can also hold something, or you can put a blanket on you that you really like the texture of. Anything that can add to your relaxation, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think there's not really a wrong or right material. At the end of the day, it's the material you like. Some people really love the feeling of a knitted sweater, and that gives them really that warm comfort. If I'm wearing a knitted sweater, I'm all the time itchy, so it's definitely not the thing for me. But if I'm doing my own light practices, I'm using really heavy cotton blanket, and that really gives me that natural feeling, and that feeling I feel comfortable with. Some people lie on a sheepskin or on a sheep's fur and experience the warmth of that. Other people maybe use a certain type of cushion. But it's also interesting you say holding something, because sometimes or for some people, it's really hard to stay focused throughout the whole experience. They kind of need something in their hand, otherwise they get lost. And earlier today we had a quick call, and you mentioned something I really found very nice. You wanna say it again?
Yeah. So sometimes when I go on to my light journeys, especially with the LiBa, I tend to keep this with me and hold it in my hand. Sometimes I run my fingers across the writing on the edge, because it's carved in 3D, or is it, what was it again, Joel? It's 3D printed?
So what you hold in your hand, you have to say that's a light traveler coin. So people coming to the light experience, they, at the end of the event, I usually hand out the these light traveler coins, and it's kind of a certificate for everyone that they had a LiBa light experience. And also on the back is a discount code, so if someone decides to purchase a light, they can usually claim back the cost of the event course. But the coin itself is a UV printed coin, so it has a very 3D textured print around the edge of the front, and in the center it's a very shiny metal surface, so it almost feels a little bit cool. I never really thought that could be used by someone in their light practice, and as you told me today that you occasionally just hold the coin and feel the textures of it during the light experience, I found that a very interesting fact, but I never thought about that people actually doing that. But yeah, but it can be other things as well. So for example, these shiny balls you can have in your hand, so you can have a fidget toy, just something who just occupies your fingers a little bit and just focuses your mind on that object you have in your hand. I wouldn't suggest that you have a very complex thing in your hand. You don't want to be distracted, but having a shape in your hand you feel comfortable with can be something very comforting and helpful in that journey, and helps you to keep the mind where it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And so subtle things like this, you don't need, like we mentioned, a deep tissue massage. For me, it's Yumeho. I always go for Yumeho that combines deep tissue with a lot of chiropractic, joint manipulation, whatever gets me into that physical discomfort, none of physical discomfort state. So,
but it can be also something like a pine cone, or it can be just a pebble or something like that. Yeah. It can be just a very natural thing you hold in your hand, and you just get that feedback of that object. Might be with the pebble you enjoy the weight of it, maybe the rough or very smooth shape. It can be also a crystal where you feel the different edges, and maybe you find the energy is flowing with these objects very beneficial to your practice. And that's basically the main thing what it's all about when you speak about touch and becoming getting into a relationship with objects you're holding in your hands during your spiritual practice.
Yeah, I mean anything that gets your imagination going, I guess, and gets you into that flow state maybe. And you mentioned Reiki. We mentioned holding stuff in your hand. Other subtle stuff like that might be you might find relief, like pain relief, that can actually help you with your light journey by using red light. So a device like this one for starters might be good for you. So it's a light bulb. You put it near the area that you are experiencing pain in. So may that be your neck or maybe your knee, and you hold it for 10 minutes. And quite to be honest, in the first seconds you really feel the heat, and it really does its job. You get a lot of pain relief out of it. I mean, not a lot, but it's enough to say that it's worth it. Because sometimes you cannot get the pain out of your sciatica, and I use this for that.
Yeah.
So I find it very
things useful. The combination makes it, I think, and it's if you just rely on that one thing, it's a very narrow band you actually set when you have a full spectrum of different things you introduce in your space without making it too complicating or too much. You can also start combining these things. So going back to the smell, so you can introduce smell and incense you like. You can play with the light, that you have a gentle light. And then if you also introduce some red light therapy. But I found the other day something very interesting. I think everyone's seen it meanwhile on Instagram. But there's, I think it's called a Shakti mat. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah, those spiky mats, right?
Kind of spiky mat. I never tried it, but I'm really interested to feel the effect from it. And I just always intrigued if I see things like that. And it's for people who never seen it. It's a mat, and I think it's made from plastic. It has some slight spiky rings across the whole blanket, and you're supposed to lay on it or have it in your neck. There are also some sets where you have a combination between a cushion and that mat, and then you just basically lie on it, and it should increase the blood flow in your body and direct energies, or say distribute energies throughout your body. I never tried it, say again, but I'm really intrigued to try it. Have you ever tried it?
I haven't tried it. I want to. Again, I can only imagine how it feels like, because I've used something not really similar, but in that area of application.
Okay.
So this is a back support. It's adjustable. You use it like so, and it's also spiky. So this model, you can find various models. This one is spiky. This one is not. I'm tall as fuck, and I need support for my back. Usually, I use this once a week. So I crack my lower back using this, and then I go on with my day without any pain. So if I am experiencing a bit of tension in my lower back, I use one of those in combination with the light session, because I don't have the patience to just sit on it. Nobody has the patience to. So in the same time, you also do another type of therapy. I am always about combining stuff like that and efficientizing the time.
Fantastic. I think we can move on to more the taste side of things. And in terms of taste, the first thing that comes in my mind is food. And I think it's always interesting to hear what people eat and drink before the light experience. What is your personal favorite, or how you handle food and drink before you go into a light experience?
So before a light experience, I don't eat a lot. If I eat light, only fresh vegetables maybe, or a light meal. But I can see how, if your favorite food may be McDonald's and you haven't had McDonald's, but I don't know. I feel like shit after eating McDonald's, so I don't recommend eating that.
I feel great before I go, and then after I went, oh no, why? Yeah. But in comparison to consuming other psychedelics like mushrooms, or you usually always go with an empty stomach, and I think with a big difference there with the LiBa light, or with light treatment in general, is that you not go with a stuffed stomach into the experience. You eat something that you feel comfortable but not heavy. That's usually my suggestion I give to people. Yeah. So I would suggest, when you eat something, that you eat rice, maybe with some chicken or tofu, just a general light meals with flavors you feel activated and makes you happy and healthy to a certain extent.
If you're you're full of food and you're lying under the light, you might actually be taken out of that experience because of that. Because you're not, because you're feeling something physical. I always tend to lie under the lights and have my experience when I don't have any discomfort. May that be if I'm hungry, if I'm very hungry, I might want to take to take care of that first. Again, if I need to go to the bathroom, I might want to take care of that first. I don't want to receive a phone call while I'm having my light experience. I want to be relaxed and not have any worries or needs to be taken care of. So I think when we talk about foods and how you can augment your journey, so keep a healthy diet, but also keep away from alcohol. That does not tend to relax.
I think that the lots of substances who work really well together with the light, but alcohol, or what people reported, because I generally don't drink any alcohol, but what people report back to me when they drunk some alcohol and use the lights are usually not very positive experiences. So a lot of people report back a little bit more spiky, a little bit more an aggressive light experience. People report back that they feel a little bit nauseous, that they feel disoriented during the light experience. So in general, alcohol and the light experience really doesn't go well together.
No, in general, alcohol is shit. I mean, the origin of that word is, you should find it out. You should search the book because it's I think it's like the death of soul or something. I'll go. Alcohol,
that's how it feels, at least. I never was a big drinker, and I generally don't drink any alcohol at all.
Yeah, maybe.
But, if I have the events, and I usually write people an email in advance to make them aware of that they should drink beforehand. And I think you change something in your body in a way which just doesn't go well together with the light. And I'm not a scientist on how alcohol acts in your body, or I don't know anything about that. Just what I know is people are even just slightly drunk or have a very small amount of alcohol, and they go under the light. They usually don't have a great time.
I haven't tried the lights after I drank alcohol, but each time I drink, I can see that it's not really helping towards what I'm trying to describe as a conscious living. So if you live consciously, you can also enjoy your foods even better. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
I mean, So alcohol takes a bit of that away. So leave alcohol aside. Let's talk a bit about conscious eating, for example.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. When you have if you have a meal on the evening, you have your light practice, and conscious eating is really something you can nurture your soul with food. And during eating, you really ask yourself and become aware of what you actually take to yourself, and you absorb all the sensations from mouthfeel, warmth, texture, and anything what you experience during eating. And also you become really aware of what food actually is doing for you. That you give yourself power and energy, and that you allow your body to transform that food into something else, into and nurture your soul with food. And if you eat a meal and have planned afterwards making a light experience or a light session, I think conscious eating can be a great way to introduce that practice and introduce yourself into that headspace, and just basically sit down and turn off any television or TV shows or YouTube and just eat quietly your food and consciously consume the food, and don't overeat, absorb your body how it feels to absorb that food. And that can be a really great gateway into the experience you have afterwards. That's my personal experience with conscious eating.
I mean, that's my experience as well with that. And while we're on it, let's talk a little bit about tea, because I used to, just like aromatherapy, I used to discredit tea. Such a ignorant guy.
I think tea is amazing. I think that you have tea allows you to make very easy a ritual about something, and you can go really into details with tea ceremonies, from Japanese tea ceremonies, where the whole preparation of tea and consuming tea becomes a whole evening experience. But even if you just keep it simple and you prepare for yourself a tea, the act of making tea and consuming tea can be already so a beautiful ritual around that, and can be a great preparation and framework for your spiritual practice you have afterwards, if you like. I think all these things we've been talking about is all about basically building yourself that framework that you feel comfortable and relaxed before you enter into the light experience itself. And tea, first of all, you have all these different flavors available of tea. But it's not only that, it also goes back to touch. When you hold the warm cup, you have the sensation of a warm cup in your hand, has something very calming and very gives you a very secure feeling. If you combine that maybe with cold weather or something like that, it also can be memories you come up with that. So I don't think it's all about what tea you drink. You can be simple English breakfast tea if you like, but at the end of the day, if you just make a ritual around making your tea for your space, and when you enter your space, you consume that tea also in a very conscious manner. It just brings your thoughts and your mind to that central point. Yeah, exactly.
For me, tea, just the act of making it and drinking it slowly, or enjoying it. It's a bit of, I use it to get out of that work headspace.
Yes, it's just that transition period from a very busy head into that calm and more soul-driven space. So that you have to kind of build that transition, and having a form of tea ceremony, if that is just making or boiling the water and pouring into the cup, smelling on the tea and start drinking, it's a very simple way to do it, but you can extend that to a much bigger thing like a Japanese tea ceremony. But in general, just the act of making the tea and being exposed to that sensation and sensations is already enough for many. Yeah.
Right on. And I also have a few clients that also like to smoke a little bit with that tea, like vape a little bit of CBD maybe.
Yeah. So I think CBD is a very interesting thing. There's a lot of misunderstanding with CBD out there, because CBD became a very fashionable thing, and we find it meanwhile in almost loads of different products. And I think CBD in your mascara or lipstick is just barely usable at all, but it sells it really well. And often CBD products have an CBD extract, so they use the hemp flowers and reduce the hemp flowers chemically to just the CBD, and you end up with a white powder. And that white powder is mixed into drinks and, for example, gummy bears or other foods. The hemp flower in general already contains so many beneficial terpenes and contents who calms you down and have a holistic purpose. And if you just boil it down to the CBD, in my eyes, you lose a lot of beneficial parts of the plant. So if consuming CBD is something interests you, I personally consume always the whole CBD flower. It's a hemp flower.
Yeah.
It's the hemp flower. It almost looks like normal cannabis, but it's just from the hemp plant. It has a very small amount of THC. It's usually 0.17%, so it's nearly nothing. But I usually put it into my vaporizer. There are lots of different vaporizing devices out there. You can buy a really expensive one. You can buy rather cheap ones. There are also quality differences there. But in general, when I vape the vape flower, you have the full experience of the actual hemp flower. And it helps me a lot in my light practice. And if you need that transition period from that busy head into the calm spiritual world.
Yeah, in all my research, I found that you can also put in that dry herb vaporizer. You can put in lavender, you can put in eucalyptus leaves, maybe hops, sage, lemon balm, you name it. I mean, there's tons of stuff you can use so you can relax a bit more into that experience.
It's very interesting. With lots of these plants, they have the same terpenes. So if you smoke or vaporize, for example, hemp flower, you're going to consume very much the same terpenes like you have in lavender. And so the terpenes are usually the same or very similar, but you find them in loads of different plants. And for example, if you look for a more something that opens your breath and your chest area, and you vaporize eucalyptus, that can be a very powerful plant to consume, I think. So it doesn't need to be CBD or hemp or cannabis or whatever. There are loads of different plants you can consume that way. And I think if you start making your research in that direction, you find your suitable plant or the thing who aids your practice.
Yeah, you can also look up a bit more about stuff like rapé or other types of snuff herbs that are used by tribes for many thousands of years and are known to have a lot of beneficial properties. So we are going to mention in further or later episodes these types of enhancements, but we thought of not going too much into it now, but just mentioning them now. So when we talked about the visual part, the smell part, we also talked about the taste part. I think there's also one that remains, and that's the acoustic part, right? The hearing.
Yeah. Hearing. I think hearing is one of the biggest parts to actually change how we perceive the light. And I think I repeat myself again and again, but I have often people contacting me and asking, does the LiBa light change with the music, or does the music kind of change the light of the LiBa light, and always explain the same thing. It's not connected at all. So you can listen to every music you want, but depending on what music you listen to, the whole experience changes. And it almost feels like the light is in sync with the music without being in sync at all. So it has something to do with the brain waves who listen to music and also absorb the light frequencies, who automatically go in sync, and maybe where the mind starts finding patterns as well in musical rhythms, and finds connections to the light rhythmic as well. But it's absolutely bizarre that you can have a device playing a certain frequency and you listen to music, and what you absorb visually is so complete in sync with the music without being technically in sync.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, if you work with sound healing devices like the crystal singing bowls, they have a certain frequency. And if I work with James in Halifax, he plays the singing bowls, and I have the lights going on with the client, and we always combine the Schumann frequencies with the 435 megahertz singing bowls, and they seem to be really resonating with it together. It's sometimes very interesting when he plays the singing bowls. They almost have a binaural beat effect, and together with the light, it almost seems like that the bowls actually change the light, or it kind of acts as a remote, so to speak, but just because they're very similar frequencies. But yeah, if you listen to the psytrance during the light experience, that gives you a complete different light experience. It can be very psychedelic, it can be very visual, it can be very fast.
Yeah.
Compared to, for example, white noise, where you just enter an empty space and just enter a void, so to speak. And I think music is such a powerful medium to work, especially with the lights together.
Yeah. I mean, you said it. It's amazing when you have your LiBa going into sort of a synchronization with the sounds that you are playing with your favorite tracks. It's something extraordinary. I thought it through many times, and I think it has something to do with the tendency of systems to synchronize in our universe. We may talk a bit about this on later episodes, but it's very interesting. So it's not the theory; it was demonstrated. They did a lot of tests, and long story short, the pendulums are going to sync up if you put them in the same room. Pregnant women may have they may sync up their menstrual cycle, and all sorts of weird stuff are happening on this planet Earth. So yeah, I mean, it shocks me that LiBa is capable, or not capable, but it shocks me the effect that it gives with your own music. LiBa is going to carry you through your desired.
Yeah,
so,
it kind of goes in that sync without being in sync at all. It's just your perception of the light, and I think that's a very important thing. What you learn when you use the light on a regular basis, it's all about perception and not really what the light is reproducing. So you can kind of use the same program on the light, and the experience is always different depending on the day, depending on the time, depending on your mood, and yeah, music is an incredible tool to guide you through these spaces. But it's not necessarily always music. It can be also just absorbing absorbing the sounds in your space. And sometimes it's also just very beneficial just to listen to just your surrounding and just observe what is actually going on around me, without actually judging it and without actually questioning what you absorb. But when you're in nature and you lie down, I think it's not the best thing to listen to music in that sense. If you listen to nature and listen to the birds and maybe to the wind and the sensations connected with these sounds, and combined with the light, that can go in a very intense experience. But
yeah, absolutely.
Or some people really like to listen to just certain sounds, or don't know, they feel comfortable when they hear someone doing something, or it's just that thing. At the end of the day, you just have to listen to the thing that makes you feel comfortable, and be a little bit brave and venture out and maybe just use sounds and music you normally wouldn't listen to, just to bring you out of that little bit out of that comfort zone occasionally, just to allow yourself to experience something different.
Yeah, and sound is such a powerful thing. It's a vibration, a mechanical vibration, and that can be, as you said, transmitted through the air, and you can feel it. You not only hear it. And by feeling it, you experience it in such a unique and different way. You mentioned me once about your vibrat pad that you made by yourself for yourself.
Yeah, it's a platform. Yeah. And it has bass resonators inside, so bass resonators. So it's not an actual speaker as we know it. It's basically just the driving part of the speaker. And the thing, the box, or the thing you attach the resonator to becomes kind of the speaker. And I built a platform with these speaker resonators inside. So when you lie on them, you really feel all the bass notes of the music. These things are also used for game simulators, that when you drive around with your car, that you actually feel the bumps and jumps your cars make. Or it's also used, for example, in home cinemas, that you have that haptic feedback of the music when an explosion is going on. And I found it such a relaxing thing for my light practice, just laying on that platform and feeling the sound, and having that additional dimension with sound, without having to listen to loud music. So it doesn't have to be loud to be felt. So when you have when I stand next to that platform, you barely can hear it at all. It's just suspended on foam, and just the vibrations are going on, and you just feel it when you're actually going on. I think I've sent you a video a couple of months back with the platform on the ground. It looks completely normal, nothing suspicious. And as soon as I placed the water bowl onto the platform, you could see all these vibrations and waves within the water. So it's a very powerful tool, and it's very low cost to make. So everyone interested in that thing, you more or less need a solid wood board for wooden for big rubber pads as feet, and these resonators. These resonators start with about 30 odd pounds on Amazon. So if you really want to make a low cost system, a vibroacoustic system, you are in the game for less than 100 pounds if you're really interested in that field. The more you spend for your resonators, then better they get, of course, with representing the different frequencies. But as an experience, you can come away with quite cheap resonators, I think. But yeah, I love that additional dimension in my light practice, where you just really feel the sound, and it almost goes back to say that the shamanic drumming. So these big drums, where you really feel that dum 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 dum.
Yeah.
And these deep vibrations, they have such a calming impact onto the body. It's funny enough, these patterns, they usually are in sync with our own heartbeat or with our own breathing rhythm. And I think these sensations with the sound vibrations, they bring us back to this sensation, how it feels to breathe, or how it feels to feel the own heartbeat, these vibrations we have in our own body. And if you lie on a vibroacoustic platform, these vibrations kind of mimic the exact same thing and make you aware of your own body vibrations. I think that's I think that's at the end of the effect of it. And I'm not an expert in vibroacoustic platforms at all. I just built them for myself because I really like to experiment with it a little bit further. Yeah,
and I think you should encourage anyone to try it out because it's quite safe.
It's incredibly safe. It's such a simple way to have really that altered state of consciousness, a full body altered state of consciousness. I think with the light alone, you get really far. But if you add things like that, where you just get that bodily feedback going, so people who are a little bit stuck in their mind, maybe stuck in their head, then can really accelerate their experience into a complete different direction if they use things like that, like just sounds, vibrations, to actually get that body feedback going as well.
Yeah, touch, smell, sight, right? So everything contributes to your experience, even though it doesn't need to be to be stacked or to be used in the same time. You can use it before or after. It's going to add to your experience and it's going to help you even more. It creates such a synergetic effect, I think. And it's very important, after we mention all of these, to know how we can bring home, how we can really integrate our experience. And I want
that's a really good point. Yeah, I think that's something very important, because it's for example, if you go for a half an hour light experience journey, and after that half an hour, you kind of need something to reflect what you've seen and what you experienced. So one part is definitely capturing as much as possible of your experience in that moment. I personally found it quite easy to forget what you actually experienced and seen. So as soon as the light goes off, I already feel how all these sensations are just flying away. And it's so easy to just jump back into everyday habits and jump back into social media and jump back into go in contact and answer a message you received during your experience. But I think it's really important that when you had the experience, you allow yourself the time, first of all, to come back in a really calm way, and second, really use the time to reflect and think about what you've seen. And in order to not lose the information, I would suggest to anyone maybe starting up, or even if you're in advanced point, just record yourself during the light experience and just say what you see. Oh, I see that now it's tunnel like, or now it's purple. It doesn't matter if it's a beautiful language or if you explain it beautiful. Just say whatever comes to your mind. And as you do so, you kind of, first of all, you amplify the experience, because you make kind of that loop in your mind where you say what you see, and then when you say it, you see it even more, so you can fall into that experience even deeper. but it's also a kind of a manifestation of what you actually experience. And if you listen to these recordings after the light experience, you can kind of recall the different visions you had, and you don't lose that information, and it's information you can use for the integration part after the light experience. Another way to do it is on the events, I usually offer people just a pen and paper. So when they come out of the experience, allow them 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to just come back, and after these 5-10 minutes, I start talking to people. Just move your fingers, move your hands, just get comfortably going again, but come back in your body. But then I invite people to just draw things down or write things down, and that's something I really learned from Tree Carr with working her on the events. And she has really a great way to introduce these art, the art integration into the experience. I still have a lot to learn, but I think it's a great tool, and it's something I really taken with me, and it's always in my event material. So everyone coming to the LiBa event always has a little bit of paper and a set of colored pencils laying next to them, so they can really draw. And it's not about making a beautiful art piece, it's really about just bringing thoughts onto paper. It can be simple words, it can be simple shapes, just to manifest the experience you just had, and allow you to reflect on the experience. Oh, this is what you usually do on integration after the light experience.
Yeah, I would imagine it also helps with your mind and body connection. It also helps you to express yourself in such a way you haven't been able to recently. I mean, we all used to draw when we were kids, and we all know the importance of staying young at heart, you know? But we never play anymore. So once you get into that playful mind space, you can take advantage of that and really reconnect with yourself and with your older self, right? With your younger self.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I come back to the taste after the light experience. Also eating maybe ice cream or a certain type of sweets or chocolate, who kind of nourishes nourishes your inner child, and that freshly born being after an experience can be really beneficial. And it's at the end, it's all about what makes you feel good. And if a little scoop of ice cream gets your emotions going and into a positive direction going, I think that's a great tool. And I think sometimes you can overcomplicate things, and it's always about very, very emotional things sometimes, but sometimes it's just something very simple. And sometimes you just need a simple light experience with a simple integration. But even if it's just a simple light session you do during the week without a lot of personal work, can be implemented into that holistic practice with just positive things, and nurture yourself and your inner child as well.
Exactly, and these things are not stuff that you need or you should use only once, and it's not something that you tried it once, you saw how it is, it cured you for life, and that's it. For me, I think these are practices that I need to come back to weekly, if not at least monthly, because otherwise I find myself slipping right back into that old mindset that it's not really that good for me. I know I can do a lot more and a lot better, and I use all these type of practices to reconnect myself with my higher potential. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. So we
And
had,
I think that's kind of it, because when we talk about, sorry.
Yeah, I think we had all the senses. We also spoke about integration. Nothing in really high detail, but we just went through the different parts. And I think we could summarize the whole thing with, it's important that you're in an environment you feel comfortable with. If that is outside or inside, that you just make yourself comfortable in your space with lights, with the smells, prepare yourself with the correct food and be well hydrated and all that. That contributes to the light experience and to the whole journey. And just consume things you think benefits the experience, and not alters it in a way where you can't handle it anymore. So there are very subtle plants out there and teas out there you can aid your light experience. And I highly recommend just capturing the light experience in a way so that you, when you do your integration session, that you can go back to that captured information and draw from it and have use from it. So it's not just something you give yourself and forget. Forgive yourself and forget. It's something you always can come back to and kind of learn and have personal growth with the practice you do. But that applies to anything. That applies to lucid dreaming. That applies to breath work. That applies to anything. That when you just keep a journal or just record yourself, that you can kind of work with all these things.
I think it's very important to do that, so you can keep a record of it, so you don't forget it, you don't forget where you've been, what you've experienced, and you can also share it with others, and that way you are also having fun talking about it. But I think it's also very important to reflect upon it. So in that sense, you integrate and you activate the true potential of that session, you use it in your everyday life. So of course, what I might add here in the end is it might take a little bit of patience and perseverance, like I talked in the first episode as well. But I think all of it, it's way worth it. I really do.
I want to add something to the end, and that's this weekend. We're going to have an event in Manchester with the psychedelic community. So there are still some tickets left for a Saturday and also for Sunday sessions. And the next big one will be the Liminal Land Retreat in Wales with Tree Carr and Brian Morrison. There's different offerings in a beautiful land with breathwork and dreaming sessions, and there will be a cook there who really cooks a delicious meal. Everything happens in a beautiful natural space. You're surrounded from nature and the river, and if you're really looking for a break in your busy life and going on a really beautiful spiritual holiday, so to speak, I think the Liminal Land Retreat could be a great opportunity. And as I said, that this weekend is the one in Manchester, if you're just interested in trying the LiBa Light and seeing if that is something for you, if you want to meet people, like-minded people, and want to talk and discuss and ask questions about it, that's the perfect place to do that. Other than that, if you're interested in the light devices itself, you always can go to lightbath.co.uk. So you find all the equipment and lights on the website. And if you're interested more in for example, the red light therapy or the air purifiers and stuff, you can go onto Gabriel's website, infinite1.ro. So yeah, that's about it. I think it was a really nice podcast episode. It just brought everything a little bit together. If you have any questions regarding a particular topic, just ask in the comment section, and we might revisit that in the next episode. And if you have any other questions regarding the lights and so on, you always can contact me on Instagram or over the website. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Do you have anything to add, Gabriel?
Yes, I would add that in the you should live a conscious life.
That's always good. Yeah.
I'm going to go now because I want to have fun. It's Friday night, right?
It's Friday night. All right.
Talk
Thank
about
you very much.
sound and light and having fun.
Having fun tonight.
Yeah, I really am going to. Not telling what and how, but you can imagine.
Thank you very much, Gabriel. And
thank you, Joe.
Thank everyone for listening. And I wish everyone a beautiful evening and a nice weekend. Bye-bye.